You hate to see it. So guys, remember Ann Selzer? That is the Gold Star Pollster in quotation marks who claimed that Kamala Harris was winning Iowa by 3, and the liberals ran around all of the weekend before the election saying, Ann Selzer's never wrong. She's never wrong. She's a Gold Star Pollster. She's always right. In fact, before we begin this video, just because I love to gloat so much, let's play this quick clip that will remind you that Ann Selzer is never wrong. Check it out.
We are still in a news environment in which there are good polls, and particularly where in some states there is a gold standard pollster who appears to be unaffected by larger dynamics that are making everybody whine about the polls. And the reason those individual pollsters get the gold standard designation is both because of their proven sound methodology, but also because of their track record over time in that particular jurisdiction. And the prototypical example of a gold standard poll is the Iowa poll done by Ann Selzer, by Ann Selzer in Iowa. This is that poll, and it is a shock result. It shows Kamala Harris ahead of Donald Trump by 3 points in Iowa. And the reason this is consequential to our psyche is that if this is accurate, and if anybody is accurate, it's likely to be Ann Selzer in the Iowa poll. If this is accurate, this implies that Harris might be winning Iowa. 3 points, granted, is within the margin of error here, but it's 3 points.
Oh, I thought Ann Selzer was never wrong, guys. She's a gold standard pollster. What a joke. Laughable. Okay, guys, but if you're enjoying the content, please do us a big favor. Be sure to hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Why should you subscribe? Because it ensures we can keep bringing you these videos. Ann Pollster may be quitting from her career as polling, but it doesn't mean you need to quit on this channel. Be sure to hit that red button. And with that said, okay, let's get into today's story. So I know nobody saw this coming, but apparently, according to the New York Post, Ann Selzer, a pollster who predicted that Kamala Harris would win Iowa, retires after massive miss. Now, I want to be very clear about this headline. According to her own statement, she's not going to be retiring from like working at the Des Moines Register and doing other stuff. But yes, she is officially quitting doing the presidential polling. Okay, because again, she was never wrong. And then mysteriously here, she is just leaving after she got so ridiculously humiliated in the 2024 election. But I thought she's never wrong. Well, I don't know. We're learning something new every day. I guess Donald Trump is just so spectacular that he shatters all glass ceilings, including the Ann Selzer poll, right? No, the honest truth is that I think Ann Selzer sold out and just kind of did this as a last-ditch effort to save Kamala Harris and boost Democrat morale, but we'll talk about that in a second. Here you go. She is going out on a low note, according to the New York Post. So, Ann Selzer is retiring from election polling just weeks after her once respected poll showed that Kamala Harris was leading in Iowa, only for Trump to win the state by more than 13 percentage points on election day. Oh, gosh. You love to see it. You hate to see it, but you love to see it. The much mocked Des Moines Register Iowa poll released the Saturday before the election projected Kamala Harris to be 3 points ahead of Donald Trump in the race for Iowa. Yeah, needless to say, that was catastrophically wrong. Okay, it was 16 points off. Guys, there's some online surveys that got the election closer than that. I mean, let's be real. It says, in a guest op-ed for the Des Moines Register, the veteran Iowa pollster claimed her departure has been in the works for over a year and plans to transition to other ventures and opportunities. No, I don't believe that for a second. I think we know exactly what happened here. And maybe she just ran a really bad poll. Okay, it's possible. I'm speculating here. I don't know for sure. I want to be clear about that. But it seems to me, and this was true of Allan Litchman, who we'll talk about later in the video. I think a lot of the Gold Star pollsters and predictors and analysts really went on a limb to do this, is, you know, they're getting close to retirement age, and they hate Donald Trump so much that they essentially decided to sacrifice their lifetime careers of credibility with the election stuff to try to give a boost to Kamala Harris, right? Basically sacrifice everything to try to help her win. And look, let's not be naive. It is very possible. I'm not saying it's true, but it's totally possible that Ann Selzer especially did that for some type of financial or even like political gain. I don't know. Or maybe she just did it on her own accord. Who knows? But I especially got this feeling when she went on major shows to try to defend her poll and her methodology. And you saw very clearly that this historic Gold Star, very accurate pollster had no clue what she was talking about in regards to the results of her own poll. Take a listen.
So Noah, are you able to put up that tweet? Maybe it's up and I can't see it because
It's
I'm
up.
on live. It's up. All right, Ann, are you able to see that?
Yes.
Okay. Could you just go through and say what you think about those criticisms?
Well, I'm trying. This is in a format that's a little difficult for me to see. What does this D represent and the R represent?
D. So they're saying that, and again, he says read through the Seltzer crosstabs.
Yeah.
So they're saying that they know that this poll shows, and again, it's they say your sample is got it's more 3% more Democrats than Republican, whereas the electorate last time was 8% more Republican. It says that you have Indies voting Democrat +4, whereas last time they voted or +7 +4. So they're saying if you compare what you have with what happened in 20, according to the exit polls, it's way too big a change across all these groups in a uniform way towards pro-Harris as opposed to Trump.
Yeah. Well, this is the first time I'm seeing this, and so it's sort of against my nature to think I understand everything that this is saying, and I haven't cross-checked these numbers to know how that actually pans out. But I'm going to say that it is clear that senior women are an advantage to Kamala Harris.
Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute. So wait, didn't you run this poll? Isn't this your poll? Your Gold Star poll? She's never wrong, by the way. Just keep remembering that. She's never wrong. I can't get over that. She's like, what does the D and the R mean? And then she says, oh, this is my first time seeing these numbers. Didn't you run the poll? Or did you just pull this? Like, what? You know? So again, the moment I saw this, even back before the election, I was like, first of all, there's no way that, you're going to get Kamala Harris +3 in Iowa. That's just terrible. It's a terrible poll. It's probably part of a psyop, right? Like it's literally a demoralization or voter suppression poll in a sense. But even if that's not true, just listen to her. Like, did she even run this poll? What did she just, like, I don't did she go knock on the doors in her neighborhood and be like, hey, send this to 5 friends, that's my poll. Like, what was this? Again, I have a hard time watching that, especially back then, but even in retrospect and saying, you really mean to tell me that Ann Selzer didn't just sell out to kind of like, again, she's going to be done with this anyway. Maybe I'll have something to gain by helping the Democrats. Let me just put out this suppression poll and that's that. And whether or not that's really what actually happened, I don't know. Again, I'm not here to like make claims about people that I can't verify, but it seems possible. And it would also suggest that the entire supposed momentum behind Kamala Harris the entire time was astroturfed. Right? In some ways, it was literally a psyop. Kamala Harris's popularity was a psyop. And essentially, their hope was herd mentality, right? If you kind of astroturf or invent momentum and popularity, then the hope is that actual people out there will just go along with it. Except as the Democrats found out in the election, the American people were a little too smart, a little too aware of that kind of nonsense. And if it's true that Ann Selzer just took the check and retired and ran away from the polling, you know what? It is what it is. Okay, at least she knows exactly what she did. The same cannot be said about a character like Allan Litchman, who I think similarly sold out the entirety of his credibility to try to save the Democrats and Kamala Harris and stop Donald Trump. Except the difference is, I don't think Allan knows when to quit. And I really do think, I don't even know if he got paid for it, which is the shameful part. I think Allan, literally this, objective, non-biased analyst, historian guy, got so self-deluded and egotistical and narcissistic in his Trump derangement syndrome and celebrity status that he thought he was God. He thought he was Nostradamus. He deluded himself so much into thinking that his own 13 keys, which if you read objectively, would have showed a Donald Trump victory. How can I turn them for Kamala Harris? I'm the prophet. I got this. and then he got humbled. Except the difference is between Ann Selzer and Allan Litchman is Allan Litchman does not know when to quit because he's just still doubling down on the fact that he was right. It was the people that were wrong. Even though my model is supposed to predict what the people will vote for in the presidential election. It's just hilarious.
It was some 10 million Biden voters who decided not to vote this time, and that's directly tied to misinformation. You know, they don't like Trump, but, you know, they're
Did
thinking,
Donald
well,
Trump
do we
not pick
really
up more
want
votes this time than he did in
more-
2016?
So, pardon me?
Did Donald Trump pick up more votes this time than he did in 2016?
Yeah,
Or in
but not that
2020?
he picked up in 2020, the most relevant last election. He picked up about
I think
the
what I'm
same.
saying
but
is
10 million.
that
Let me
both
finish.
sides
Let me
can say
finish.
things like this, like misinformation. It's hard
If
to
you don't let me
quantify
make my
that.
points, why do you have me on?
No, we
Let
love
me
it's a
finish.
conversation. It's spirited. I think there's a
All
little
right,
bit of a
we're
delay.
done. We're done.
I
You
think we'd
won't
love
let me talk. What's the point?
You can
Are you
go-
the expert or am I the expert? You can
Apparently
question
you
me,
so
but you
claim
gotta
to be
let
an
me talk.
expert. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Are you the expert or am I the expert? You're not an expert, buddy. Maybe you were, old man, like 40 years ago. Okay, your model is, I don't even say your model is trash. It's just your prediction skills are trash. Your analysis is trash. You were always wrong about this election. And how are you coping with it? It was misinformation, as if so-called misinformation, aka the conservative argument, right? The other side actually does get a chance to make its own arguments and points, has not always existed. No, my keys were right. My keys. No, it was just because the American people fell victim to misinformation. And that's never happened before. Look, ultimately, the point is this. Whether or not these so-called political Nostradamus characters want to take the path of Ann Selzer and just admit defeat and leave, which, okay, you know what? Fair enough, respect. Or be like Allan Litchman and just double down in their delusion. The point is this. Nobody's going to listen to them ever again, okay? You know, do you think the newfound fame that Litchman got in the 2024 election cycle because he was giving a lot of hopium to the Democrats, you think that's going to sustain to 2028 or 32? No. Because he fell so flat on his face in this election, he can't say he was the guy who predicts them all right anymore. Nobody cares about you, Allan. And believe it or not, you're not an expert anymore. And if you don't understand how your so-called misinformation, aka free speech, has changed the dynamics of the American political scene, are you an expert anymore? No, you're not. Allan Litchman is not an expert. Ann Selzer is not a Gold Star Pollster. And we learned that in this election, and we learned how fake and bad at this all these characters are. By the way, lastly here, I would just like to point out, okay, I don't claim to be an expert at predicting elections, but I will note here, okay, that I'm officially better at this than Allan Litchman. Because you can go watch my stream. It's called the 7 Days from the Election stream, where I literally predicted the exact electoral map, right? 312 to 226. I'm not here to brag about that. My logic was simply that Kamala Harris is not strong enough in the Sun Belt, and I thought Pennsylvania was going to tip, which would have made the rest of the blue wall tip. So, like, it was not a crazy out there prediction. It wasn't just, oh, me drinking the hopium or something. No, like, I broke it down and I explained why I believe that was going to be the case. But nonetheless, okay, I'm not here to gloat about it. What I am here to say is, Litchman, I'm a bigger expert than you at this point, okay? It is what it is. Just saying. I'm just saying. Okay. With that said, though, guys, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.